Hello, welcome to this Analytic Vision Hyperion EPM integration into OBIE dashboard reporting presentation. I'm Greg Viles with Analytic Vision. We're a business intelligence and performance management consulting firm here in the U.S. We focus on pretty much anything Hyperion, planning, HFM, S-based related type solution set, as well as OBIE, the pre-built OBIE apps, and all the data warehousing and automation ETL type work that goes into streamlining these solutions. And today we're going to try to keep this video short. We want to focus on S-based EPM integration in OBIE. Have a few slides here, just sort of overview some of the differentiators, why someone who has a Hyperion type product suite would consider it, and some of the differentiators versus some of the other BI tools out there. Obviously Oracle owns S-based and knows it the best and can do some different types of reporting that other tools can't handle very well. And then we're going to do a quick demonstration OBIE. I'll do very quick, just basic reporting for some folks who might be new to OBIE, and then we'll do a focused demonstration on S-based integration within OBIE, and we'll create a report from scratch using S-based as a source, and then we'll do a quick, I'll show you something with mobile analytics as well, which is a key nice to have, obviously, if you have S-based to get that into the mobile solutions. Quick overview of points, and then a couple slides just to give you a visual of those, and we'll jump into demo drive. Strategically, a key benefit of OBIE is really you can have one reporting solution regardless of your source. Today, if you're a Hyperion shop, you're probably using financial reports for some of your reporting. Some folks are in SmartView. Maybe you have the old web analysis analyzer product going, etc. There's different tools to get at different aspects off of S-based. Key advantage of using OBIE, one tool, one ease of use reporting that can hit S-based, but it also, same tool can hit any of your relational data across your warehouse or even other data sources that aren't relational and such. So you can really simplify that whole reporting and training and support structure. If you want to have your financial data in S-based mobile available, this is the fastest way to do it. Whether it's HFM planning data, you can quickly get that in the hands of your CFO for reporting right off their iPad, iPhone, if you like. As far as integrating with the relational data, this is something, having worked myself with Hyperion for quite a long time, it's always been the quest, how can I seamlessly drill through to my supporting detail, whether it's your general ledger getting into the journal entry detail, your sales getting to the invoice detail. We've always wanted to get there. There's been tactical solutions out there, the old S-based integration services, S-based Studio. You can get at those, but it's predefined drilled through queries that a developer creates for the end user, and then it's pretty much just a Excel type text file listing when you do drill down. That's still nice for footing to get to the details, but when you do it through OBIE, it's very seamless. The person even creating the reports doesn't know when they're pulling data from S-based or the relational data, by seamless, and also ad hoc users can pick which columns they want at that lowest level. They have all the dashboard, formatting options as far as sorting, filtering traffic lights, setting alerts off the data, and such. You can work with that at any level of the data, so it's truly integrated, not just a predetermined launching point to get to the detail. And just some differentiators for dealing with S-based that other BI tools might have some challenges with, which if you're new to BI, you might not fully appreciate it because there's some things that you've might take for granted in S-based. But as far as when the BI tool, when S-based adds new members into their outline or changes an alias description, all that is immediately available in OBIE. Pretty much, OBIE does not store data; it just points to your sources. It points to your data warehouse. It points to your S-based cubes or HFM data. So anything that changes in those sources is immediately available. So there's no refresh of OBIE. Just to put that out there. S-based ragged hierarchy is quite common, and a nice feature of multidimensional databases and alternate hierarchies. Those are all handled just fine for OBIE. And I have a visual on the next slide of this point here, as far as S-based members from different levels of a dimensional hierarchy getting stacked. Key thing here is a P&L statement, which I'll talk more in the next slide, but just the ability to deliver that was kind of a showstopper for leveraging other BI tools over an S-based solution for a number of years until Oracle's development kind of put that solution out there. Your reporting, you can not just work with S-based member names, you can work with the alias names as well, set up drill down on those and such. And we can handle asymmetrical reporting, which again a visual will help in the next screen, but pretty much if I'm dealing with a variance of this year versus last year and this year versus budget, I'm not stuck. I don't have to be stuck showing last year's budget, which is a meaningless column and such. Quick visual here, and we'll show this on the demo drive, but pretty much right here, and until not too long ago, this is a real showstopper for most BI products, or possibly all other BI products, over Essbase. The Essbase users, this is pretty simple. It's just a P&L statement. I've got flattened out, but if you know the hierarchy in Essbase, this is really grabbing members from different tiers of the outline. It's putting them in a flat list, and with this plus, you can see that you can drill down, and we'll go touch that in a moment in the demo and such. But that is, take it for granted, but a lot of BI products have challenges with this. You kind of put two views here. One, this one's just drilling right down the alias column. This one's actually showing the member names with the alias next to it, so just some kind of different options that you can do in your reporting. This is asymmetrical reporting, where you can tell this is off a planning cube. The fiscal year and the scenario columns have been combined so that we can kind of have actuals planned with variance, also comparison to the prior year in variance, kind of all flattened out to an efficient report the way that most financial folks would like to see that. Again, that's something that's that a lot of other products don't offer. And this one's actually over HFM. Oracle does have a pre-built solution off of HFM, which can be implemented in a couple weeks, just the base model and such. And kind of what this one's doing is you can kind of have a base, what's a scenario and year combination that I want to compare to. Then it lets the users dynamically pick a scenario, pick a year, and this will actually pull it in and make the variance compared to the actuals over here, when you can do it with another scenario and year. So it's sort of a flexible way of handling that asymmetrical reporting. Pretty slick. That one's off HFM as an example. Now the meat of probably the more exciting part for a lot of companies is dealing with the integration of relational data with Essbase. Just kind of in general terms, there's vertical integration. I'm in Essbase, I drill down to supporting detail. There's horizontal integration. I have Essbase metrics, and I want to bring in some external metrics, to work side by side of Essbase. That one's not done as often, but we've implemented that. So if I want to, in our example, I'll show you in a moment, where we brought in some FTE payroll type metrics to put side by side next to Essbase, and they work along the commonalities of dimensions between the two. And there's also what we'd call link navigation, where you can kind of be somewhere in an Essbase cube and a launching point to go drill into the relational detail, which is still another way to get the vertical drill down, and a little faster to implement. Here's a quick visual from one of our clients off of a planning cube. This is listing their business units with basic business plan to actuals and their variance. The user clicks on a business unit, and they're now looking at their Essbase planning SG&A accounts with their variance and such, which is important to this business. They double click on an actual column, and then this is a launching point into the journal entry detail, and as this foots back to the 132, 299 was the prior slide. So this is, I would kind of just jump from Essbase to relational. I'm looking at my journal entry detail, and because we learned this client also had imaging of a lot of their transactions, we integrated that into their solution as well, so they could click on the image and right at the journal entry line and get a visual of the document that foots back to that number. So pretty slick implementation. That's all done via OBIE. These reports, no real coding involved. It's kind of all point and click setup, so very nice. Real quick visual on what I call the horizontal integration. This column's coming from a planning Essbase cube. This column's the FTE, some allocated data that we did in their data warehouse for payroll and such. You see these columns are side by side, and you could drill down this time hierarchy or the business unit hierarchy, basically the dimensions that the two data sets had in common, and they work just fine. You could actually do math between the two. So pretty neat. Also notice this scenario column where we've dynamically combined actuals and forecast is as well something else that we're pulling off within OBIE. And probably one quick one, something that we have for demonstrating potential for horizontal integration. This is two Essbase cubes, very simple ones, a simple G&L one, a simple sales one, and we have a demonstration and even do a workshop lab where we join these along the dimensions in common, and you can actually, we get units from the sales, the revenues and such from the GL, and kind of can work those mathematically together. But with that in mind, I'm going to jump over to the demonstration drive. And what we see here Just a quick overlook. This is just a demonstration dashboard. You might have seen Oracle show. Probably a couple of these reports are over Essbase. This one here, I believe, is one of them. And you can drill down your hierarchy, just like you can if you normally use Essbase. But also note, this could be a relational data source. Off of relational data, you can have this identical functionality. One thing that was keen for the developers of OBIE, regardless of data source, the same functions will work. So if it works for Essbase, it works for relational data source too. So this type of functionality is not necessarily Essbase dependent, although this one is working off of Essbase. There's some nice, some of it's eye candy. You see this scrolling customers. I can put my cursor here. It stops. I'm on TED Velo. I click on TED, and here's the detail that flips back to TED's number. So again, that's kind of one of those seamless interaction points where you're effectively passing parameters. There's my demo drive. This is a way to navigate. I've got a series of dashboards. My demo drive is loaded with a lot. Most clients are going to have anywhere near close to this. I'll show one other regular analysis, and then we'll focus solely on Essbase. This is accounts receivable. For folks who are new to OBIE, I just like to give a quick flavor that shows some typical types of analysis, because that is a benefit that the same tool that I bring Essbase in can have my whole business. So this is just 30, 60, 90 aging analysis, and yeah, you could make little bars, bar charts drill into little bars, but that's often not very conducive to good analytics. In this case, if I'm looking at aging, I could just go, what's the detail that foots back to this bar? Or maybe just from looking at this high-level dashboard, it makes me think, I want to look at my aging by customer. So I click this link. Now I'm looking at, here's an alphabetized customer list, my aging, percent totals. I could just glance at this. Maybe I'll jump over to the 90-day aging. I see the 708,000 looks pretty high. I click on that, and just like that, I'm now looking at the detail that foots to the 708,000. Here's all my sales invoice that foot right back to that. I could export this out to Excel. I'm just clicking here. Again, these are all features that are all, when we put a drag and drop a report onto a dashboard, it's just a checkbox feature of what of these do we want to include. So there's no coding involved. Whether you want to make a PDF, Excel, just drop it off to some raw data and such. Or if you were analyzing around and you came to a neat nugget, instead of doing the Excel, maybe there's another fellow OBI user I just want to send a report that I just found. If you look at this URL, it's kind of small. I'm going to click this Create Bookmark link. When I click on it, this just got kind of large. I could email this link to a fellow OBI user. And granted, this is not a way around security, but they could click on the link if I'm already logged in. If they weren't, they would be prompted to log in with their user ID, and it would make sure that they had access to this data. But that's a nice way to, if I've been interacting with my data, that I send in this link and it takes them right to where I was in the data, even if I manipulated it around. And this is all web-based. There's no software on your user's client. And I'm just going to hit the back arrow button. I could, if I was really interested in that 90-day analysis, I can sort descending, and again, just go right back into clicking down into the details. And I'll just click return. It'll take me back to where I started from. And I think that just shows you some of the slick things that you can do with this BI tool. And now let's focus just on some specific Essbase examples, although everything I'm showing you would work off of Essbase, just like any other source. These are some Essbase examples years ago when it first came out that we built, just kind of playing with it. And again, whether it's relational or Essbase, all the same functionality works. I'll just show a couple things. There's always data filters that you're used to seeing. Give me data for this year, this business unit, etc. These are actually column selectors. Right now this report showing region, but say I want to look at the same report by population size. And so it just literally swap to that column. So that's a neat effect you can do with OBIE. It's also a good way where you can have set up one report that suddenly I want to view the same metrics by customer or by product, and you can kind of rotate those around and do your drill down. I'm going to skip ahead, show some of the integration points. This one's probably more for a technical exercise. We do a workshop where we actually set this up. This is a very simple report by year. This is coming off of an Essbase database. and you're just drilling down the time hierarchy. And in a workshop, we'd probably show the log files underneath to show that this is running queries against Essbase. But right here, when I click on June, I'm actually crossing from Essbase to relational data. So this is what I mean by one of the seamless ways that you can integrate this and take it right on down to day. So in this case, we integrated Essbase handled this data from the month level on up, and from week and day level was relational data. It's mapped together so that the user working with this data has no idea that they just crossed from Essbase to relational data, and even a report developer, whether they picked week or month, really wouldn't know where that data was coming from. That's kind of what we call the metadata layer that protects that. Over here, just to kind of show a simple one, this is a very simple report off of Essbase. Another training exercise we show when we're showing clients how to set up the what I call the drill through linkage. So right now it's showing east. I'm going to change this to west, click apply. Just leave these numbers change. But I'm going to click on one of these. I'll pick marketing. And I'm going from Essbase to relational data. So here's the marketing, here's west, and I can just click return to head back to where I was. So this is where this one, it's integrated. Essbase relational data are fully integrated into the two. This one I'm jumping from Essbase relational data source, and it's passing parameters of the account I click on, as well as this year, quarter, and month. Those are dimensions that the data has in common. Show one other one with this drill to image. The I guess a nice feature here just to kind of show what I call cascading prompts. And this one's right here, and you notice it's showing all these year and periods. If I come in here and I pick 1 year, now this prompt's only going to show the year and month that fit with that, and that actually crosses into all your dimensions, such that pretty much you can prevent the user from picking combinations that won't return data if you want to constrain your prompts. So it's kind of it's a nice way to make your prompts get lean and efficient. And if I just click on California here, this is showing some detail for California, and again, this is just sort of showing you how you could link into an image to link that back. One other point to show in this demo, it's just a couple others here. And since often P&L data is typically where a lot of folks start when they're dealing with Hyperion products, and probably waking up this Essbase database, I haven't been to this page yet. But this is where we're going to show the P&L statements and how you can stack your accounts the way you'd want to do that off of an Essbase hierarchy. I showed you these. Actually showed a screenshot of this in the PowerPoint that we showed up front. Okay, and so set here, and again, you could have defaults like the current year there and such. And as expected, you can drill down on these hierarchies to interact with your data. Likewise, down here is that screenshot where we sort of dynamically combined 2 dimensions into column headers and such. And again, you can still interact with your data for these and drill up and down on those. This graph here is also off of Essbase. Kind of just a dynamic way of seeing what they call a slider bar. It's another way to show the interaction with it. Maybe real quickly, let's I'll make a report from scratch to give you guys a flavor of that before wrapping this up. So if I go to new analysis is what they call making what you'd call a report. It's an analysis here. A dashboard is when I want to put the different reports and stuff on a dashboard, setting up the prompts. Very simple. Everything here is point and click. Your power users don't need to know JavaScript, HTML, or any of that fancy stuff to do 99% of what, or 100% of what clients tend to do. So when I click new, the first thing is security-wise, what subject areas do I have access to? I'm going to go to one of my Essbase ones. And I'll just kind of do this quickly in the essence of time, not trying to train it here, but if I pick a quarter name, go get the quarter, let's pick brand for products. off our customer dimension. I'll pick segment, and I'll start very simple. So basically, as you'll see, this is kind of like S-based. Pretty much these are your dimensions. You actually have some creativity if you wanted to combine or separate some things just for ease of use, or add subfolders and such. But suffice it to say, similar to S-based, you're picking levels in your dimension hierarchies. This once columns are here, you could drag and drop them around if you wanted to rearrange them. But pretty much, I'm just building a report. So far, I picked quarter, customer segment, brand, and revenue on this criteria side. You could add filters if I wanted to. If I wanted to pick, actually narrow down, what quarters I want to show in this report, etc. But we'll try to keep this simple right now. I'm just going to click results. Let's see what we have. And it starts off as a basic table, kind of showing your quarter segments, brand, and revenues. There are, for that given criteria, there's a lot of different ways we could look at this data. I could have this is the table view. I could do a pivot table. There's all sorts of graphs. There's gauge. There's other views, like way up front I showed that ticker. That's when we had that scrolling report that was on there, etc. We won't obviously go into all these things here. I'm going to add a pivot table. And for screen rail, so you'll see pivot table just showed up below this table. I'm going to remove my bar up here to give us a little more room. I'm going to remove the table view just to show a little bit with this pivot table. And we're going to edit this to drag rows and columns around, in which, and actually I'm a version back on this demo drive. You actually could do this right within here, right click and rotate your rows and columns. But you can do things, so right here, here's what's in the rows, here's my columns or measures. I can do things that you'll probably be used to, as in, let's put the quarters up there in the page file that you see. I'm going to take the brand here. I'll put this above my columns. We could add some totals on a report. So I can kind of add my row and column totals, just like that. I'm going to remove these column totals just because I'm going to actually show we could also graph the results of the pivot table right next to it. So you kind of see the two of those together. So, and obviously there's all sorts of formatting that you can do with these guys. We're kind of doing the quick view here. I'm going to show a couple different things. I'm going to put this in the section, which that basically breaks out a version of the report per value in the section. This can be nice if you want a P&L statement per business unit or something to that effect. And we'll add, let's see, add some, often whenever, some Excel-like functions that financial folks like to do, say running sums, percent totals, those types of things. We're going to add that. I'm going to click this duplicate layer, which might sound a little odd at first, but you'll pretty much pick up on what we're doing here. So maybe I wanted this first column to be a running sum of that column that I just duplicated. And we can change the column heading to be appropriate. I'll call this one running sum. And let's make this one a percent of total. So show data, percent of column. You'll see the numbers changing as we go here. And again, format that heading. And let's call it percent total. And just show a little bit of formatting that we could do to make this look a little better for this section. Let's say I want to put a background color. I'll pick dark blue. And then let's actually, for the brand itself, let's change its value so we can actually read what I just put on that dark blue background. I'll put white, bold, and give it a better size. And so you see where we just formatted these section bars. Now I'll click done here. Kind of show you what we're putting together. We can, of course, this is still interactive. We can drill down. And again, it's all web-based. I could hit the back arrow. That's a quick way to undo that. We could still add additional metrics. If, for example, I wanted to add a gross margin percent, I just double-click that. I've added a column here. We could add traffic lighting to this, and not just, you could shade the backgrounds like you're used to, or if you notice in some of these pictures where you saw red, green, yellow circles, and there's a variety of look and feels. But with that, you could just click your Save button and save this report. So that's kind of a quick example of building a little bit more than just a straightforward report. It's easy just to pull columns and look at them. This was a pivot table view. And probably one last thing I'll do is mobile is always an important aspect to this. And to show this, since we're doing this through a video, I'm just going to run a snippet of this YouTube video in here.
The profitability dashboard provides a picture of key profitability indicators. Users can filter to choose what ledgers and profit centers to check and for what period of time. Within the profitability returns report, we can select the return on equity pre-interest May of 09 cell, as the red flag indicates a potential area of further investigation. By selecting Navigate to Margin Dashboard from the Action Link menu, we can navigate in context to a margin dashboard. Other action options include the ability to send an alert or provide feedback to the report owner. The margin dashboard provides feedback on profitability ratios to understand what is affecting the core return on equity number. By choosing additional fiscal quarters, it is possible to look for broader trends and perspectives. With the additional quarters represented, the graph now shows the ratio of cost of goods sold to revenue improving as it dips lower.
All right, and I'll stop it right there. But just wanted to give you guys a little visual, because what's neat about this product compared to others, there's some solutions where you design and build all your content just to go in a dashboard, then you have to redesign and rebuild it so that it can play on your iPad, iPhone, whatever your mobile technology is. OBI is set so that whatever we build on the dashboard, you can just log right into it from your mobile devices, obviously with proper access and such set up. So this is just definitely the fastest way to get any of your Hyperion products in mobile accessible through your devices. And I appreciate everyone joining us today, and hopefully this was a helpful video. Thanks.